love for self and other or others is when you have no mask. Okay, so when you're able to be your whole self. And if there are disowned parts of you, you talk about it. Because in 2024, we have good therapists that help people who have had a not safe childhood centric environment know that they are used to not being in loving relationships. Loving relationships is when you're in your social engagement system with another person, so you can learn all about getting out of hypervigilance, of push pull relationships, of dating people that are martyrs, superiors, or blamers. Okay, so being in an actually loving relationship means that you own yourself first, and then that means you go and present to another person who you are. The lens of you is an authentic self. Once you understand your emotional triggers, if you need that to be explained to you, I have plenty. But let's start with self compassion and compassion for others. And as a attachment in 1 minute, as a attachment and trauma informed person, I have a lot to share on what healthy self worth relationships are like. So I know how to say, this is who you get, this is why I won't be changing, and here's how you can work with me if you want. Work with me as a mentor, but in general. So when I'm with people, since I was growing up, I say, this is who I am, and it's not changing. And when it comes to relationships, same thing goes. In fact, it's never been a challenge. If anything, it's been humorous for me to watch. Why? Because I know what self-love is, because I have a mom and a twin, and my mom got to give me secure attachment and explain that difference is different, not mean equal, unequal, none of that. Okay, so when you have compersion, it's because of the capacity to know healthy self-worth through and through. No envy, no jealousy, no spite, no revenge. Those are emotions that are present, or feelings, I should say, because we have those 6 basic emotions, and then the biochemistry, plus there's a lot that goes behind it. I'm not going to always get all the data correct and in order, but one thing's for sure, we don't have a lack of education. You can ask me questions. I will see if I can find the resources, and if not, again, I'm the pseudoscience lady because I'm bringing together different elements, is what I call subject matters, and I don't use dictionaries in a specific way. Okay, so when you love, it's because you know unconditional love with flaws and imperfections. So unconditionally loving with flaws and imperfections means no. No means no. Here's who I am, not changing, and you don't have to negotiate who you are. When we are authentic selves, it's because we don't hide any part of us to our own self. That's very important. Okay, so I can recognize when a person's shutting themselves off because they're afraid. And any person who is not aware of their whole inner child self will be doing that automatically, because they don't know what true love is, because they don't know self-compassion or secure attachment within their own body. And they don't know how to claim all the parts of their self unless they're self-aware. If they are, then they can. And then they can claim my thoughts, emotions, and myself are not going to impose behaviors that are adaptive or maladaptive. The low self-esteem, indirect communicators, passive aggressive, they don't know healthy boundaries, are talking, and that it's a talking like a functional adult, which is what we get to do here, the functional adult love language. So it's we talk, not and leave our rooms without having come to an agreement. No, we talk and come to an agreement where I appreciate you for being yourself. You appreciate you for being yourself. There's no mask. No, we're going to be able to say you have a right to expand how you are. Now, the part about the adaptive child and maladaptive child behavior is what I want to talk about for a minute. The first 3 years of life are all implicit memory. So a person will have the capacity to be aware of wanting true love when they have the capacity to take down this mask with themselves and notice that they've been dating pieces of people, I should say, let me stay polite, hurt people who hurt people. Like Patrick Tiahan says, they can go get work. And I've shared with people who are in trauma bonded experiences that they're in trauma bonded experiences, that they're in codependent relationships. To the best of my wording with respect, they don't want to see it. Now, if they see it, then they become self-aware. And if they welcome themselves home, then they say, I deserve to be loved in here and outside, and they begin a journey of self-love, first of all, alongside I want healthy self-worth partners or partner, depending if they're polyamory or monoamory, but they will notice the difference. A person who lets you be yourself will expand you. And I shouldn't say let, but it'll be something you feel. So I know when a person's comfortable being their self with me, because I'm going to be comfortable being myself with them. The minute that I begin to perceive that they're closed, it's because there's something going on. The lines of communication are being interrupted. So again, a person who wears a mask with their self, that's why the hurt people, they repeat their shame, blame, fault, revenge, codependent patterns, and their hypervigilance is something that they don't take note of. If they do, then they move out of that, and they will be the ones who push their own uncomfortableness. Why? A person who doesn't have the beginning of their 3 years of life and childhood in a safe haven, secure-based home, so a person who has not ever had a secure attachment figure is going to be reminded, there's your 1-year-old, of that. And so when presented with a secure attachment figure, and that is what love is, it's unconditional, it's not with conditions. But you can only be a pure piece of consciousness with your heart body and your value body and your energy body and your mental and your emotional and all of it, not just doing yoga. No, if you don't know psych education, you're going to do all the yoga, think you're special because of mantles of yoga, like mantles of mental health who go around talking about people in ways that are demonizing or romanticizing. We don't do either. We don't allow an avoidant attachment to be able and say, oh, everyone's fucked up, so I'm just going to stay this way. I mean, of course, they're allowed. What I'm saying is we're not going to be like, oh, sure, they're right. All are fucked up. Nope. No Pinocchio with a wooden body. We're not fucked up. Anyone's healable if they put their mind to it. It's called self-awareness, self-accountability, self-regulation, integration of the brain. It's called you becoming your mammalian heritage, restorative embodiment. I did it. You can do it too. I did get lucky because, again, I have a twin, a mom. She taught me how to unconditionally love because it's easy to love. In fact, I don't keep a man on a leash. That is like hard work. Love is not hard work. Expressing all my emotions, not going to be something I hold back. In fact, if you actually don't welcome them all, I'm going to know you're not a man in my book. And a man is not a man if he has contempt, disgust, and then shame after fucking me. No, that's a person who needs a therapist, not me. I'm not going to feel shame because I'm a conscious lover. That's what a 0-1-year-old who owns their own 0-1-year-old and is a grown woman in my prefrontal cortex. No trauma charges lingering. Nope, I'm just like, people don't know how to be their self, and they follow Venus, a goddess of May. How to keep a man? Yeah, you keep him with a leash. Was it a dog? So in my book, I've always laughed. Any man that needs to be kept like that, I'm thinking, okay, sounds like a baby. I don't want a baby. I thought I was getting a man. And that's the part of where anybody who still has a shame button to an empowered 1-year-old, yeah, I'm sorry. This is where it's like I feel immediately the image of a person who's going to be good boy, you did a good job, because they're looking up to their herd members. And that means they're looking up to some other man. And I've heard enough about that to know, wow, you can't even be your own man yet. How many years is it going to take before you become your whole own man? Thank goodness there's Terry Real. Thank you, Terry. So Terry Real is helping the men who want to get on board with being men. So is Patrick Tian, Dr. Daniel Fox, Dr. Daniel Siegel, the ones who help people to get a hold of their inner child and all that great stuff. Yeah, some are pretending. They're silverbacks. You can tell they got mantles all over the place, and they just continue the perpetuation of stereotypes like Venus is a goddess of May with women. And that's why they continue to be around, because Pinocchios with wooden bodies will have Pinocchios with wooden bodies. Okay, so we here are the ones that go to our mammalian heritage and know that love is with our oxytocin gene hormone on, not any of that visceral stuff down here. Nope. The hypervigilant stuff is not love, it's visceral, and there's a whole bunch of things that we can talk about. We will talk about no masks and authentic relationships, functional adult love language. Okay, so it's when you own all the parts of you. You don't have a disowned self. No, you have a self. You're not ashamed if there's any trauma. You talk about it, actually, very confidently, by the way, and very honestly and very authentically. And you love that you have healthy self-worth women, men, and theys out there who don't do shame, good boy, good girl, good they, because society It's not leading us. No, we know that social system and attachment system are in here, and you can become the self-regulator of you, your emotions, and your thoughts. You don't have to be a 14-month-old who only feels comfortable with their in herd and then feels uncomfortable with their out herd. And this is from a study that showed that a 14-month-old will play nice with the teddy bear that likes the same cereal that they like, and they will treat with less kindness and not want to play with the teddy bear that doesn't like the same cereal that they do. So unless you're a 14-month-old, meaning you don't want to take ownership of this brain of yours with the mind of yours and the body of yours, if you do want to take ownership, come on over. Inner growth mindset. Again, being yourself is very fun and functional love language. So we create a home that's compassionate, graceful, and generous. Why? Because we accept differences. So differences means that you are, though, an open heart with me, that you tell me who you are all the time, not just sometimes. You don't lie. The part about lying, when Terry Real works with a man who lies to his wife all the time, she's about to divorce him. And so she or he wants to save the marriage. And we talked about that. People are motivated to be their self, which makes a 0-1-year-old like me very sad. I mean, I get it, but it's like, wow, they're only going to do it for somebody else, not for that poor inner child that's basically made it through all these years for them. That's interesting. So it's not for your own piece of consciousness that you do it. I'm just saying. But then again, my driver is self-agency. That's true. So you should know for our attachment categories, thank you, Daniel Siegel, we also have drivers. And there's 3. There's self-agency, then there's bonding, and there's certainty. And he explains how that works to affect your temperament, which then affects your personality. So in my book, there's self-agency as the dominant everything. And so I'm not motivated to be a better version of myself because of what happens outside, because I want to contribute to my herd in the best way possible. And if my best way, though, is not good enough, I don't do bad, Maria, bad. No, I say I did the best I could. I will not be taking my life away because I didn't meet whatever your expectations are, because I know what the best I can do means. It means I'm following the laws. It means I'm treating you with decency. It means very basic things. So not that I need to meet specific criterias of some sort. That is for the adoptive child who's unforgiving, perfectionist, and lives a shame, blame, fault, and revenge. Envy, jealousy, low self-esteem. This is why teenagers, when they're Pinocchios with a wooden body, grown up, they mean nothing more than what I saw as a teenager. All making very unreliable decisions, unkind, not having each other's back for real, just a bunch of blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So when you see smoke and mirrors, you figure it out. Eventually you're able to notice, which is why we don't get discarded in this way of, I'm so ashamed, I did something wrong. No, it's, oh my gosh, another one bites the dust. It's more like, I had a good time. They had a good time. If it goes, it goes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And that's because of healthy self-worth. So yeah, it's not a discard. It's more of, we are not going to be compatible. If we are, then we're going to keep on growing and having fun. And in fact, on that note, when you are the authentic self of you, self and other in love, it's a high. There's not a low. What are you talking about, boxing gloves? That's something that is ridiculous. Only teenagers have the boxing glove type of, oh, we're superheroes together. No, we're just humans doing life in a secure attachment body, restorative embodiment, self-awareness. Come on over, functional adult love. It's fun. And not just with romantic partners, FYI. In fact, the romantic partners is part of it. But when you have people that are all pachas, okay, that's what we're doing here at IHP. We're creating a bunch of alive. Aliveness is way different. Being in your social engagement system consistently is super fun. So come on over if you want to consistently be the human love narrative. Obviously, if you don't, there's the human love suffering narrative for you. They do a lot of that push and pull stuff, and they do the, I live for one human being alone, and you better bet it's hard to keep a relationship going. And I'm thinking, really? Wow, you don't know how to be yourselves? Is that how hard it is for you to claim all the parts of you? I mean, wow, I'm wondering. So that's how we feel about people who go around saying relationships are hard. It means you don't own all of you yet. And so you don't have awareness. And then when I meet you, I'm not going to say anything. When I meet Pinocchios with a wooden body, I'll know who they are again. And in romance, they're not going to be romantic, because you coming in and out of my life means you're just going to grow out of steam at some point. And that's where love is not. Love is not going to grow out of steam, because rest and rejuvenate, you get to keep on coming, keep on getting younger. Okay, so love and self and others. It's really nice to be unconsciously loving with flaws and imperfections, to grow functional adult love language, to talk about appreciation, to talk about the things that we want to negotiate on. Again, when we are in differences, we always can bring each other to compromise, but that also involves compersion. And so we will close on out with this. If you are a polyamory person, if you have secure attachment, then you're going to have a easy time with this equation. If you're not, then I'm going to say get to secure attachment with yourself first, because the only way you're going to know true love is if you love yourself first enough to say, I don't change. This is who I am. Nobody's asking you to stick around. It's not meant to be hard. It's not meant to hide any of my emotions or my moods. None of it, not even a little bit. It's not meant for us to be pseudo alive. I'm going to say it. No, we are living what is called a life every 24 hours. We're mortal beings who have the whole world out there. And the world is going through a lot. So we have a big picture, and we're such a small group right here. So it's easy. Actually, you come home and you want to be happy. You come home and you want to laugh. You come home and you want to feel what is supposed to be a home. If you didn't have this, that's when you'll know why you are not having a home like that. So Terry Real helps people who are married with unfinished business when they're about to leave each other, which is great that he's out there. Other people, they make excuses and live traumatic relationships and push and pull, and they just say it's a ball and a chain. You make compromises. And well, we're in 2024. Nobody needs to be doing any of that compromising. You being yourself doesn't mean you're going to be selfish. You being yourself means that you claim secure attachment. You get to earned, come on over, and functional adult love language relationships are fun. You get to just say, here's who I am. I want to have a good time in life. And in fact, the other thing is that we don't have concerns of keeping a man or a woman, or they, because they're going to want to stay. If they are in love with who they are, they will be in love with who they choose, because they're not choosing, again, whether poly or mono, based on a 0-1-year-old who needs to securely attach to another human being. They're choosing based on that which brings them more pleasure, joy, state of, I laugh every day of my life with you. I love every day of my life with you. I have a good time. And this is where you show and know this consistently. And a 5D mystic or 5D functional adult, we have only those types of connections, by the way. So it's not just, again, romance. Romance is requiring a person to commit to you as a safe haven, secure base for a person who has healthy self-worth and knows what true love is. It means you show up always, not just sometimes, and you always want to make it better, not anything different. The people who don't know how to handle their moods yet, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm saying it's a thing you can do something about. Bringing in your mood is like a teenager. I was a teenager too, not knowing how to work with your own sensitive self, really, because sometimes that's all it is. It's being sensitive. Let me think. We'll close out with, when I was a teenager, if they woke me up, I'd be really grumpy. As I got to college, I was the one who was told, you're talking too much, Maria. I need a rest. And I learned how to leave it alone. And it was one of those heart-based, like, it's personal. No, it's not personal. It's subjective. And I am a chit-chatter. So you learn how to grow up emotionally and mentally thanks to your herd, which is why we thank our oversoul. 5D mystics, come on over. We don't have sagas with our twin flame or flames or soulmates. Our oversoul is awesome. Oh, and we don't cut cords. We don't end contracts. There's a whole bunch of stuff we don't do because, the 0-1-year-old is owned by you. And we're going to end with that lovely rhyme. So thank you for tuning in. Share, like, subscribe. If you're interested in one-to-one mentorship with me, let me know. You can email me, or you can email me. And inspiringhumanpotential.com, you find a lot more of information. Ask Maria, opinionated columnist. That's paid subscription-based model content on our audio version podcast. And it'll be the IHP membership first opportunity content once we get to 1K. Thank you again for stopping by. Oh, and if you have curiosity questions, I always like to explore topics for personal development, self-help, being yourself, the inner growth mindset, and tapping into the infinite higher human conscious potential of you and I, and, human evolution and this beautiful consciousness. Have a great one.